Hey everyone, happy Sunday evening. Coach DJ here, and I'm just checking in to see how y'all are doing on your health goals. And thought I would just run through a couple of the pillars that I always think about and try to manage for my own health. And in terms of coaching people, these are the things that we talk about probably the most. So let's start with what you're putting in your mouth. Okay, your diet. What are you eating? I always encourage, as much as possible, single ingredient, nutrient dense foods, and really staying away from processed foods, things with labels, much less, needing to check barcodes or food apps to see what all those ingredients are. Just put those babies back on the shelf and stick with nutritious foods. You're never going to go wrong with that. And along with the diet idea, really be mindful of how much sugar you're consuming, and that can come in so many different forms. Any product that has carbohydrates means it's going to turn to sugar, and depending on where you are metabolically, like if you're inching up toward either pre-diabetic or you're already diabetic, those carbs and those sugars are very detrimental to your health. If you are really metabolically healthy, you can probably afford to consume a few more, but still be mindful. They're you don't need them. Um, so I would stick with just really good, clean, healthy protein and good, healthy, clean fats. Second, I would encourage you to be mindful of your movement every day, every day. And I'm not saying you have to go to the gym and do an hour workout every day, but maybe set a goal to get X amount of steps in each day. Do a little bit of resistance training or weight training. It can be minimal and it doesn't have to be at a gym. I've talked about this before. If you simply are at a point where you're really just getting started and you've got some muscle weakness and you just don't have the energy, just start small. I think I've mentioned before, you can, stand up and sit down from your chair. You can just, lift your arms, a couple of times. You don't even have to have weights in them. And over time, you'll see you will get a little bit stronger and you'll get a little bit more flexible. So just do something every day to move your body, stretch your muscles, and start to build a little muscle. This is just really important, particularly as we get older. Third, let's talk about the sun, getting some sunshine. And I mean, even just 5 to 10 minutes, ideally first thing in the morning. I know a lot of people are super rushed in the morning, but would it really be that difficult to set your alarm 10 minutes early so you can go outside and get that sun in your eyes, on your skin, for a little bit of vitamin D and for some healthy rays into your skin? And it really helps with your circadian rhythm, so it'll help with your sleep as well, and your energy cycles. um, and speaking of circadian rhythm, let's talk a little bit about your sleep. How are your sleep habits? What is your getting ready to go to bed routine? How soon does it start before you actually get in bed? Because that is going to make a huge difference in the quality of your sleep and probably in the length of your sleep. So, if you're not sleeping through the night, if you're not getting enough sleep, start thinking about getting to bed 2 hours before you normally would. And what I mean by that, you're thinking about it. I'm not saying you have to go to bed 2 hours earlier, but let's say you have a bedtime at 10 or 11 o'clock. Well, by like 8, 9 o'clock, you're thinking, okay, maybe I want to get away from my computer screen. Maybe I don't want to do as much doom scrolling on my phone because you got all that blue light and that is not helping your sleep rhythm. Or maybe you're sitting in front of a big screen TV. If you need to watch TV before bed, which I don't encourage, but put on some amber glasses and maybe shut that off and don't do so much on your phone just before you go to bed. I really like taking a hot bath before bed, and then just before I climb in bed, I really like to listen to a quiet Christian devotional, because as I'm listening to it, it's almost impossible for me to mentally start, planning the next day or trying to solve the problems of the next day, and I'm still not even done with the current day. So try to be a little bit more mindful about your nighttime um, routine. And then also stress. Stress stress is a killer. I know that firsthand, and I think that if you stack all these um, lifestyle habits, you're eating right, you're not eating too late. That's another one for sleep, by the way. Don't eat too late. Eat probably no later than 2, even better, 3 hours before you go to bed. I try not to eat very late, and that'll help you as well. Um, but if you are eating right, um, getting the right sleep, getting some sun, doing some movement, all those things will contribute to reducing your stress a little bit. Um, I can't even imagine some of the things that y'all might be going through, but I just know as I'm going through some stuff, if I am mindful of those other things, then the stress level is better. So I just wanted to go through that kind of a little checklist and remind y'all that all those things are important, and to hold you accountable. Hold you accountable for taking the steps that you need to build your health, so that, as I love to say, so that you have the health you need to live out the God-given purpose that you have. God bless y'all, and talk to you soon.